Hey guys, what's up? It's Diamond G here and I'm back with a brand new video. I've been putting this video on hold because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do something like this because I've seen other YouTubers do it. I find it entertaining. So, I would enjoy watching those type of videos. And I was like, "Ooh, that would be cool if I do that for my video." But like, I didn't really have anything interesting as the other YouTubers. Like, nothing in my life ever happened like that. But I have had some experience that happened in my life. So I was speaking to my aunt about it, and she was like, "Oh, you should do it because what you find boring to you may be entertaining to others." And I was like, I mean, that is true. And she used a good example because I'm always on YouTube. I'm always looking at videos. I'm always watching, other people's YouTube videos and challenges and all this other jazz. And my sister, she's not really like a big YouTuber. She only goes on YouTube to like listen to music or something like that. And I got this YouTuber that I'm subscribed to and I love her videos. Her name is Nikki Glamour and she does like, beauty videos and all that. But she has this series where she does story time and I'm obsessed. When I tell you obsessed, I watched the same story time at least twice, maybe even 3 times. Like, I love her story time. And one day I showed my sister and I'm like, "Oh, look at this girl, like it's really cool." And she looked at it and she said, "Yeah, that's cool, like okay." But she wasn't really into it. And my aunt was like, "Things that you like that are entertaining, Gianna, which is my sister, Gianna doesn't find entertaining." And I was like, "That's true." So I'm getting way too into this. The point is, I was scared to do it because I didn't think it would be entertaining enough for people to watch. And I wanted to gain viewers, not lose viewers. By the way, if you're a new viewer on my channel, you should hit that subscribe button down below. Hi, I'm Diamond. And yeah, that was basically it. So let's get on to the video. Also, a little disclaimer, I'm gonna be changing names in this situation just to keep their, personal identity to themselves and not expose them or whatever. But that's just a little disclaimer, just so you know. I hope you're prepared because this is about to be a long story. This video is probably gonna be like 20-30 minutes long. And reality is gonna be like 3 hours, but I'm gonna shut it down. So I hope you're like prepared. So it started in the middle of my junior year, and the something happened that led to the situation, but that's a whole nother story. If you want to listen to that story, leave a comment down below and let me know. Okay, so it happened in the middle of my junior year, and I has been talking to this girl. What should I name her? Tammy, because that's the first name that popped in my head. Me and Tammy we knew each other since freshman year of high school, but we was just acquaintances. Like, we would say hi, hey, how you doing, stuff like that. But in the middle of my junior year, I started becoming more close with her. And we was tight. We was like best friends. Like, we would do everything together. Like, we would go out to breakfast to each other. We would hang out after school sometimes with each other, and just like little things like that. And before, like, I've gotten like super close with her, people was like, "Destiny, no, Tammy is about this. Tammy, all she cares about is this. She's always about that." And I'm not a follower. Like, I won't follow what you say. Like, if you have beef with that person, that's fine. But I'm not gonna stop being her friend and stop talking to her because of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not a follower and I like to see things for myself. So I was like, "Yeah, okay, that's you. I still want to find out for myself." So along the way, maybe like a month after, me and Tammy are like really close. Like, at this point, we're like almost best friends. And she introduces me to, I'm gonna name them, Jake and Brian. So Jake, I was really getting close with Jake, and Tammy introduced me to Jake. And me and Jake started becoming close too. Like, we would just talk or whatever. Nothing really happened there, but we were just talking. And Brian was Jake's best friend, and so was Tammy, but Jake was more of a friend with Jake instead of Tammy. So there was this group that I wasn't so getting along with. Well, there was this group, and Brian, Jake, and Tammy, they didn't really have a problem with them. They didn't really know them like that. So as soon as I told them that I didn't like them, or like had beef with them or something, they was like, "Oh, we don't like them. Oh, this, all that." I was like, "Okay, sure, whatever. I don't care." So Tammy decided, let's make up a name for them, like a code name, you could say. And I'm like, why? Like, we wouldn't, like, why would we want to talk about them anyway? And she's like, just in case, just in case. Okay, sure, no problem. So we came up with the name, and Jake and Brian started saying that name every time they passed. Like, they would call out the name and call out different other names. And I was being immature. I was laughing. I was not thinking anything would come out of it. I was just laughing. It was like all a joke, basically. And so me and Tammy Tammy was doing like saying something, but she never really like screamed out the name. So a couple of weeks flown by, they're still saying the name, they're still doing it and stuff like that. And at some point I was like, okay, Jake, Brian, like, stop. Now it's not funny. Now it's getting a little boring. So like, just like stop or whatever. They're freshmen. So they was like, no, we're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep doing, freshmen, they're fresh out of middle school, so sometimes they could act immature, like very immature. So he was like, no, we're gonna do it. It's funny. I like their reaction. Da da. Meanwhile, these people wasn't really giving a reaction. They were just looking at us like, why are you saying that? And I was like, but they're not really doing anything. They're not getting a reaction. And before this leads to something bigger than what it is, just like drop it. They was like, no. I was like, you know what? Okay, do you, like, whatever. And so a couple of weeks went by. One day we was in school, and we was like about to leave or whatever, and we was like waiting for someone. I don't know who we was waiting for, but I know it was me, Tammy, Jake, and Brian. I think we was waiting for Brian, but I'm not sure. But we was in the hallway, and we was waiting for someone, and we was about to leave school, and we seen the group, and Jake and Brian was like, oh, calling them names, and the group stopped. And usually they just keep on walking, but they stopped. And in the back of my head, I'm just like, oh, shit. Like, something's about to go down. I know that for a fact. But it was in the back of my mind, so I was like, no, they're not going to do that, like, whatever. And then I was like, Jake, Brian, like, stop. Enough is enough. Like, if they come over here, it's going to be a problem. And they was like, oh, be quiet. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, whatever. So Tammy was like, Destiny, like, which is my first name. She was like, Destiny, like, I'm gonna go outside with you, because Tammy was supposed to stay in the school for something. And she was like, Destiny, I'm gonna go outside with you. I'm like, why? She was like, oh, just in case, just to make sure nothing happens. And I'm like, Tammy, nothing's gonna happen. Like, you're overreacting. Like, just stay here. You don't have to come with me. She was like, no, I'm gonna go with you. Okay, so you can come with me. So me, Tammy, Jake, and Brian, we all leave the school. And we're like in front of the school, and how my school is set up, there's like steps or whatever. So we were standing on the steps, and we seen the group like walk, and the way they were walking, like, they was coming this way, and we had to go this way. So like, we was like with that. And I started walking down the steps because I was gonna go home. That was my way home. And she was like, "Wait, Destiny." I'm like, "What?" She was like, "They're walking." I was like, "Okay, you act like we never walked past them before. Like, let's just go, that way. That's the way I gotta go home." And she was like, "No, let's just wait till they leave." I'm like, "Tammy, like, what are you scared for? Like, they're not gonna do nothing. Like, I just want to go home." And one of the group members, like the group members, stopped in front of the school, and one of the group members from there, what came up to us, or came up to Brian, and he told Brian, he was like, "Oh, you got something to say, like, or whatever." And then Brian, Brian and him are bickering, and then Tammy comes out of nowhere and started screaming at the group member. I don't know what name to give him. LeBron. We're gonna call him LeBron. So LeBron and Brian started like bickering, and then Tammy came out of nowhere and started arguing with LeBron. And so at this point, we're already like down the stairs, and like we're just literally like in front of the school. And so I don't know where Zach was. I think he was on the steps, but I'm not sure. I don't really remember the whole thing because I was like, what the hell is going on? So then I remember that, and then Tammy and LeBron are like bickering at each other now. And so Brian, stepped to the side, and like, we was like in the middle, and then me and Brian is talking. And he was like, we was talking about like, what the freak is going on? And then so from the corner of my eye, I see another group, one of the other group members. I don't know what to call him. Tony. We're gonna name him Tony. So Tony was looking at us, and at first I thought he was like looking at me or something, and then I looked again, but he wasn't looking at me. He was looking at Brian. And then I was like, what is he gonna do? Like, I was like, is he gonna attack Brian? Because the way he looked like he was in fighting mode. Like, he looked like he just wanted to punch somebody in the face. And then I'm not telling Brian that what's happening because I didn't think like, Tony was gonna do anything. And Tony's over there by the on the street, with his girl or whatever. And I'm talking to Brian, and I'm not telling him because I'm thinking nothing's going on. But in the back of my mind, I'm just paying attention, like whatever. So after like maybe 30 seconds, 35 seconds, I stopped paying attention to Tony because he was I didn't think he was gonna do anything. So I stopped paying attention to him. So he's like blocked from my mind, and now all my focus is on Brian, Tammy, and LeBron. And then I'm like, whoa, like, this needs to slow down. Like, I didn't want it to escalate like this. And then literally, guys, out of nowhere, freaking Tony comes bashing at Brian. I'm like, what the fuck? Yo, when I tell you, I literally never expected unexpected something like that. Like, I don't even know how it made sense, but like, that was unexpected. Like, I did not expect that, and I'm just like, what the hell? And I'm next to Brian, so I'm getting like mushed into that, but I moved away because I was like, I'm not fighting. They're boys. I could get punched in the face. That ain't gonna happen. So they were fighting, and then I'm just staring at them because I'm so in shock. I'm like, like, oh my God, like, what do I do? They're boys. I can't stop them because, Mama always told me, don't get involved in any boy fights because you will get punched. And I listened to her. So out of nowhere, Tammy comes over my shoulder, hits me in my head, and pulls Tony away. And I'm like, what the hell? So I moved to the side, and I moved to the side, and I'm just like, oh my God. And so everything like escalated. That happened. They only fought for like maybe a minute the most. And Tony and Tammy is that his name? Tony? Yeah, Tony and Tammy gets put inside by the school safety or whatever, and we all go home. we go home. And then later that night, me, Tammy, Brian, and Zach. I don't even know where Zach was throughout this whole thing, to be honest. But me, Tammy, Tony, Zach, and Brian. Wait, no, not Tony. Me, Tammy, Brian, and Zach were all on the four-way with each other. And, excuse me, we was all on the four-way with each other. And, we're talking. We was like, yo, like, where the hell Tony came from? And then, I told him, I'm like, I saw him, like, looking at Brian, but I wasn't, like, really sure what he was going to do. I thought he was just going to turn around and go home and, forget this. And so, like, I wasn't paying attention to him after, I thought that. And I just kept, focusing, talking to you, Brian, because I was on the four-way with him. Like, four-way with all of them. And then they was like, yo, he came out of nowhere. And then Tammy is pissed. She's like, da, da, da. She's screaming. I don't even know what she said, but she was screaming like she was murder pissed. Murder pissed. That doesn't make sense, but she was pissed. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep. Good night. See ya tomorrow. So we all hung up, and we go to school. Everything's fine. Like, everything's normal. Like, everything's good. So while I'm in class, I get pulled out by one of the, those ladies that be in the office, or like guys, I don't know. They're like, they answer the phones or whatever. I don't know what to call them. I forgot their name. No, I don't know. But one of them pulls me out of class and was like, oh, the principal wants to see you. And at first, I didn't think nothing of it, because I'm not a person who really gets in trouble. I don't really get in trouble like that. Like, I've never been suspended from school. Well, from high school, I've never been suspended. And so I was like, okay, sure. And I thought they just wanted, like, my statement from what happened yesterday. Like, I didn't really think anything of it. I'm like, okay, sure. And so I stepped in his office, and when you step into, like, a principal's office, or, like, your mom confronts you about something, she's about to, like, whoop your ass, or, like, punish you. And so I was a little nervous. I'm like, I'm a little shaken. I'm like, oh, shit, like, And then he said, hi. I was like, hi. And then he was like, so, you know why you're here? I was like, yeah, a little bit. He was like, yeah, because you was at the fight yesterday, right? And I was like, yeah, I was like a witness or whatever. He was like, okay. And then, I didn't see no paper or pencil in front of me, because I'm like, oh, I thought I was going to write a statement. Like, what is this about? And then he told me he spoke to Tammy and Tony after the fight. And I said, okay. And he was like, so tell me, how did it lead to this? And, I told him the truth. Like, I wasn't lying. Like, I wasn't lying to protect my friends. I told them the truth. And he was like, well, Tony said that you're bullying him.
What?
And I'm just like, I zoned out, because I'm like, what? Like, when? Where? I used to talk to Tony, but me and Tony stopped talking. And it was literally like months after we stopped talking that, this fight led out. And I'm just like, when did I ever talk to this kid? Like, I told him, I said, I never talked to him. Like, I haven't spoken to him in, months. Like, the last time I spoke to him was like in December. And he was like, no, not bullying him in person, but he told me that you're harassing him on Facebook. What? I'm like, do you want to see my phone? Like, I had my phone at the time. And I was like, do you want to see my phone? I could show you my messages, or, like, anything you need to see. Like, I really haven't spoken to him since December. And maybe it was November. I know it was November or December. But that's not the point. And then I'm just like, I haven't spoken to this kid. So what do you mean? Like, I've never, like, spoken to him online, in person, none of that. And he was like, he told me, he was calm. He wasn't even screaming. But I was screaming, because I'm like, what? When? Where? What? And then he was calm. And he was like, Well, he told me that you made a fake Facebook account and was harassing him. What? What? Do you want to get the cops or something and like, I don't know, do what cops do, like check down my IEP, whatever you want to do. I don't know how they do that. But I didn't say that, but I'm just like, what fake account? And just a little like history on what happened with me and Tony is that it was problems with fake accounts. Like fake accounts kept coming up. And so that was the whole problem. But that was a little history because I wanted to let you know what I was going to say now. When he said, oh, because you made a fake account, I'm like, what? In the back of my head, I'm like, why is this like happening again? Like, we're not talking, we're not friends. So why is fake accounts coming up again? But I didn't say that, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking that. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who wants to make a fake account again? So he was like, he was calm, and then he was like, you could get suspended. I flipped the freak out. I'm like, I'm gonna get suspended for something that I didn't do, and quite frankly, you don't really have proof that I did this account because I didn't. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I did not do this account. Point of the story is he like of that situation. He was like, okay, I'll let you know. Go to class. So I leave his office pissed. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was screaming. I was like, I'm pissed. And then the only reason why I was so pissed is because anybody who's personally close to me and knows me personally, they know that my dream school to go to for college is UCLA. UCLA has been my everything throughout, my high school career, I was going to say career. My high school education. Throughout my high school education, UCLA was always my priority. And if they see something on my transcript that I got suspended for something like this, they're just like, probably not even going to accept me. And I've worked my whole high school education to meet their requirements and to do what they asked for to get accepted to that school. And so I was pissed. So I was pissed. And I saw Tammy, on my free period, I saw Tammy, and I told her what happened right away. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get suspended for something I didn't do. And, I'm speaking to her about it. She was like, oh, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. She was like helping me. She was like, don't worry, they're not gonna suspend you. Like, she was like cool about it or whatever. Like, she wasn't cool, but like, she was calm about it. And I was like, yeah, okay. So eventually I got like over the situation because I didn't get suspended at the end of the day, so I was fine. I was like, you know what, I don't care, I just want the situation to end, I'm done. And so a couple of weeks like passed by, maybe like a month, and I get in trouble with my mom. And my mom is one of those parents that if I get in trouble and I get grounded, she's gonna take away my phone. So she took away my phone for like maybe, I think 2-3 weeks. I'm not sure what I got in trouble for, but I know she took away my phone and I didn't have no way in contact to communicate with my friends. Like, I literally had nothing to talk with them on or like text them. So one day after school, we was leaving school. I was like, Tammy, can I use your phone? She was like, sure, no problem. Just don't go on that app, like the Facebook app, because I wanted to go on Facebook just to see if anybody messaged me or like what was going on. And she was like, sure, just don't use the app because I don't remember my password. I was like, okay, so I'll go on Safari so I could use like the internet Facebook. She was like, okay, sure, that's no problem. Okay. So I go on the Safari, the website Facebook on Safari, and she was already logged in. So I'm like, oh, she's logged in on her Facebook. She doesn't need to be logged in on here. So I go to log her out. And on Facebook, I'm pretty sure like half of you have Facebook. When you press the little like icon on like the corner, you could press it. And when you press it, you got to scroll all the way down to log out. I'm pretty sure like almost all of you know that. But before you go down, your name pops up on the first thing, just if you want to go on your profile. The name that was there was not her name. and it was the fake account's name that I was accused of making. Throughout, when the whole situation when I was gonna get suspended, and I was like what? And I was just confused, but I didn't think I was on the profile or whatever. I was just confused, and I was on it, and then I pressed the name because I'm like, what the fuck is this or whatever, and I thought her phone was glitching, like she's been on the profile or something, and I clicked on the name, and it was the profile, like how you have like on your, like when you on your Facebook and like there was a profile, like you could edit your bio, and she was on the account basically, and I'm like what is this, like what is this? And then I look up, and Tammy's not looking at me, she's talking to her friend or whatever, and she, like, she senses me looking at her, and she's like, what happened? I turned her phone to her, and I'm like, what is this? When I tell you, she never snatched something out of my hand so quickly. She snatched that in like 0.5 seconds. So quickly. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, Tammy, what is that? And she's like, what are you talking about? Guys, if there's one thing I hate when someone tries to play dumb with me, especially if they know that I know what's going on. I'm like, Tammy, please do not play dumb with me. I'm not, right now I'm not in the mood because of what I just saw. So just get it over with and just tell me why you on that account. And she was like, she said it like the most normal thing ever. She was like, oh yeah, I made it. What? And I'm like, I had to calm myself down because I was getting, my meter was going up slowly by slowly. I'm like, what do you mean you made that account? She was like, yeah, I made it to get back at the group. This is the account I was gonna get suspended for. And she was like, oh, you're over exaggerating. You wasn't gonna get suspended. It doesn't matter. The point of the matter is, you was gonna let me get suspended if I did, because you was never gonna confess to making that account. And then she was like, oh, why are you defending them? Do you miss them or whatever? And I used to be friends with the group, and she was like, do you miss them or whatever? I was like, this is not even about them. The point is, you made an account and was gonna let me take that blame for it. Something that you knew I was so upset about. And me and Tammy was like really close, and it just hurt that I'm just like, people was talking about you, and people told me what you do and how you treat them, but I didn't give a fuck about what they said. I just wanted to see for myself, and now I know what they talk about. And then she was getting pissed, and she's the type of screamer, and she was like, oh, you're making a big deal, you didn't get suspended. It doesn't matter if I got suspended or not. The point is, you made the account and was gonna let me take the blame. Mind you, she didn't even tell me about this account. I had no freaking idea about this damn account. And she was like, oh, whatever. So we started bickering, and then I just walked away. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna fight you. I'm walk away. So I walked away, and ever since that day, I never spoken to Tammy again. I don't want to speak to her, and at this point, I don't really speak to Brian nor Zach anymore, just maybe once in a while. So while I'm editing this video, I've noticed like little sounds in the background, and that was the seat I was sitting on because it was like making noise while I was like moving and twirling on it. So just wanted to let you know. But now I don't speak to them, and that was the time I got betrayed by one of my closest friends. And yeah, just remember who you're friends with. Like, that was the most craziest thing that someone's ever done to me, and so just remember who you're friends with. Sorry, my camera died while filming the video, so I had to wait like an hour for it to get a little juiced up so I could record my last part. And I took off my red lipstick because it was making my lips like super dry and chapped, so I wasn't liking that, so I just took it off. But anyway, that was the end of my video, and I hope you guys enjoy that story time. I wasn't like, this story was like iffy to like if I want to do the story, but honestly that happened so long ago and I don't really care about the situation no more, so I figured why not. And I'm pretty sure one of the people who was involved in the situation is gonna see this video, and I don't know, just it happened so long ago, so I don't really, that's why I've decided to tell the story. And so if you like the story, please give it a big thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comments below if you want me to do like a series of story time, because I have a lot of stories to tell you. So if you want me to do like series of stories to tell you, then leave a comment down below and let me know, and be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.
Some nights we don't remember. Do you miss me like I miss you? Fucked around and got attached to you. Friends can break your heart too, and I'm always tired but never of you. If I pulled a you on you, you wouldn't like that shit. I put this real out but you wouldn't bite that shit. I type a text but then I never mind that shit. I got these feelings but you